Okay, let's get started. Okay. Is that long enough? Let's try it again. No! Oh no! And no! What? Yeah. Alright. Let's see what speed we have. Come on. $35. Alright, that's pretty decent. Last time I did a speed run and then I forgot to show the internal. Same battery I used last time. Can we see it? Got an 80M ESC here. The DumboRC receiver. That's what I'm using now. Steering is still kind of iffy. I don't know. It's kind of twitchy. But motor is fine. I think, yeah, it's starting to get hot. So if I gear up anymore, it's definitely need a fan. Right now, I think, let's see, I'm on a 23 Pinion. Yeah, I'll talk about that later on another video of how this Tamiya engineer is a genius. I'll explain that on the next video. Well, this is the next video. Anyway, I decided to put it all together. I was checking the motor temp and it wasn't too bad actually. It's not as hot as I thought it was to be. So anyway, here we go. Okay, tip number one. We all feel like there is a need for shimming the car, right? Especially the A-arms, steering linkages and all that stuff. Here's my tips is to use any blister or even the body shell, those extra pieces of plastic. You can cut it out and make your own little shims, depends on how thick you are. This one here you see is actually quite very thin, so yeah, that's fits well with the, sorry about the buck zappers. Yeah, these here can fit well into really tight space. And let's see, as you can see, I'm using a hole puncher and a Dremel, so make it very nice. I mean, you can use anything you want basically, as long as something similar. You can cut it out even with scissor and whatnot. But hole puncher is essential, especially if you have a drive shaft going through it and that sort of thing. So that's what I would recommend. Now putting it on the car is quite challenging for the hinge pins, because there's really not much space in between to have the spacer or the shim to stay in place. So you could dab a little bit of oil or perhaps glue to fix it in place to make the installation easier. This part of the body shell, the extra piece, is probably the thickest area. So that's also a good place to use. Tip number 2 is fix the servo saver. This is the #1 problem with Tamiyas. Even on the TT02 that I had experienced, it's loose. It's had a little gap and it's too soft. So to fixing it, I drill 3 holes. You can either put pins on it or put screws on it, depends on whether you have space or not. So as you can see, I think I got 1 pin in there, stuck in there. Yeah, I'm just too lazy to take it back out. So yeah, I do actually prefer screws. So in case you need to disassemble it or whatnot, that's easier to do. Or you need to make some changes for whatever reason. So yeah. Okay. Tip number 3 is to make a wheel hub spacer that would fit in there so that your wheel won't be going in and out, because there's quite a bit of spacing, especially the front. So that would also cause the steering issue. So you want to do it, I guess, minimize any gaps as much as possible in this case. Don't put the spacer outside of the bearing. Okay, make sure you put the spacer inside and then put the bearing in. Otherwise, when you're driving, it's gonna rub against the spacer and it's gonna melt it down. Tip number 4, don't throw away your runners, the hard plastic ones. They comes in very handy. You can use it for many things, from plastic welding to extending parts, reinforcement, and in this case I'm going to use it to reinforce the stock shocks from Tamiya. They're kind of really flimsy, so to make it a little bit stronger, what I do is, as you can see, I cut a little section. You don't have to heat it like I do. I'll just playing with it. Cut it in length, stick it inside. You don't have to glue it or whatnot. You can just leave it the way it is and then assemble, and now you have a more sturdy shocks. To make it a little more prettier, I cut a little section of heat shrink tubing and stick it in there and make it look kind of fancy in a way. So it's pretty easy to do, as you can see here. Okay, let's talk about tires. There's two things. For the speed that we're going with the brush motor, we don't need foam tires. All you need to do when you put the tires in, put some duct tape on the interior, okay? And that will prevent it from ballooning. And ballooning is where the part of the instability issue. And with this, it will pretty much reduce it. I don't know, it depends on the speed, of course, but I'll say about 80% of the ballooning is gonna be gone. So that's pretty good, at least from my experience. But then again, I'm not a speed runner, so I'm going for stability. I think most of my RC in this stage is below 60, right? Probably my max will be 55 miles an hour, and these will hold up just fine. Tires, I guess you can choose whatever tires you want. I like these tires for on-road. They don't have like a lot of traction like from regular use until they get warmed up, so you have less chance of your car rolling over. The traction roll will be really minimized. One of the things I have not done, but maybe I should do it next time, is to use WD-40 to clean the tire. And that is one of the things that a lot of the racers that they would use to increase tire tractions. So that's one of the things you can do. And hey, it won't hurt, right? Don't do this on the foam tires. I don't think that's gonna work for foam, but rubber tires, and they're cheap. These are very cheap tires. I mean, $10 from Amazon. Actually, I got a whole pack. Like, God, I like 24 tires, I think, for 20 bucks. Anyway, but they works, but they won't last very long for these, the one I have the. So finally, want to talk about the gearbox. I was hoping to get a speed gear, but in the US there's nowhere to be found. Have to be shipped from Japan or Hong Kong. I don't want to wait that long. Besides, I don't want to spend the money either. But even though it was actually pretty cheap, but just the weight is I don't want to wait. So I'm trying to scratch my head as to see what else I can do. And looking at the gearbox, actually, as I was building, I was kind of like, why, the design is so weird. This is my first encounter where it will install the pinion gear so far out into the shaft. I'm like, when I was building, that was kind of weird. But I didn't think too much about it until I was like, oh, wait a minute. Looking at this, instead of engaging on the bigger spur, well, I guess this is actually like a counter gear, but in the sense of what we're talking about, we can just call it spur gear. So the larger the spur gear, the slower your car is going to get. So if your spur gear is smaller, which is out of focus, this here, then you get faster speed. And the gear ratio is actually, I counted out, but I was so stupid. I should have just Googled it online. And I'll throw a picture up here right now. But I did count it. Where is it? Forget it. I don't know. I was counting it from the parts list. So as you can see, it's actually 32/24. So if you flip it around, the gear ratio, what you'll get increased is about 1.33. So it's the same as the speed gear. Interesting enough. So kudos to the engineer who actually come up with this. I bet they do that on purpose. That's why they have such a long engagement. So you can basically flip this pinion gear around and engage the smaller spur gear. Okay, I'm gonna pause and show you that picture. Okay, found this on the internet. Sorry I lost the link. I don't know where I found it from because my computer completely died. So as you can see here, the speed tuned gearing, it will get you about 33% increase. Plus if you use the second gear, that would get you roughly around 67%. Of course, you're not going to get all that because of drag and other stuff. By my calculation, even with my 18 turn motor, I could probably get up to like about 50 miles an hour. Right now I have a 23 pinions installed to engage in the smaller spur, or you can call it the second gear. I am gonna take it apart and show you. Hang on. Okay. So from this end to this end, I don't know, let me see, I get a tape measure to show you the engagement. Okay. About half a millimeter, about half a millimeter out from the motor. So that's what you need to mount it to, and then you can engage the second gear. Like I said, the gear ratio is actually almost identical to the speed gear. And then the minimum engagement pinion for this is 23. Okay, so you can go up a little bit more. I'm not sure how much more you can go up because it depends on the cavity of this gearbox. And let me see, let me check it out. Okay, this opening here, I measured it out about 15.86, and I guess the maximum size that I can jam it in is a 25 teeth pinion. You can, take the guesswork out by, hang on, module, wait, select the unit is millimeter, external type, 25 teeth, 0.6, pressure angle typically is 20, decimal places whatever you want, and then you get all kind of information you have here. The one that we're looking at is the outer diameter reference. That's 16.2, so it's actually slightly larger than the opening, but I managed to jam this guy in there. So I'm gonna put down the phone and install it. Oh man, installing this is very painful because the way how they designed this is you kind of blindly putting the screws in. I tried to leave some gap here so we can see where the screw engage, but without good lighting right now, it's hard to do. If you guys have a good way to mount this motor, let me know. As for the gear mashing, the way that how you install this using the second gear do come with the risk because you can't see how the mesh is going. You can do it only by feel. The best way is actually to have a cut open here, open up this little area here so you can see the gear mesh. Otherwise, I guess you can open this up, disassemble the entire gearbox, and then install it that way, and you won't even be using this. Yeah, so that's that. Okay, let's have some fun.